Hello Wolfpack, back here on Bitcoin. Before I get into Bitcoin, I want you guys to go to the pinned comment below and join my Telegram information group. In 24 hours, we're releasing this month's trading results with 10x the performance of the market. And in 48 hours, so 24 hours, we're releasing the results for this month. 48 hours, we're opening up the group, so you guys can join that if you want to. Of course, you don't have to. That's where I get all my altcoin trading done. I don't trade Bitcoin. This channel is dedicated to Bitcoin and to broader market, but that Telegram group is dedicated to altcoins, and that's where I get all that. So if you're wondering why don't I post altcoin videos, that's because that's all done on Telegram. So go ahead and check that out. I'd also like to make you guys aware of the fact that we have me and Mega Whale Crypto have some big announcements to make over the next couple of weeks here. Specifically this week, right? We're going to be announcing something pretty big regarding the Learn to Trade course and how that's coming along. So get excited for that as well. But without further ado, let's get into Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin is acting like an absolute bloody clown, right? It's jumping all over the place. If we look at the hourly chart, we can see this thing is faking out left, right, and center. But mainly what I'm referring to is this kind of uptrending line we've had since the 14th of March, and then all the way back here since around the 29th of March, we've had a downtrending line. This is forming a bit of a triangle formation, right? Symmetrical triangle formation. A very weird one, but it is nevertheless a symmetrical triangle formation. And we had a breakdown, and this is what I referred to yesterday, right? We had this breakdown. Yesterday I made the video over here. We had a smaller breakdown that was indicating we'd have a larger breakdown, which we did have. However, it was just a fake out, right? So, at the end of the day, investing and technical analysis is based off probabilities, right? Nothing's going to work out in your favor 100% of the time. Even when you do have a breakdown, there's about a 10% chance you can see it coming back in within that structure. And that's what we saw yesterday. And so, yeah, we had a fake out to the downside. And so the target of 42K is not relevant anymore because the breakout was actually irrelevant. We've just broke back into the triangle. And so we're back in this consolidation pattern. I know it's frustrating, but it happens, right? We're back in this consolidation pattern. And this is due for a breakout probably within the next few days, right? We're running out of space here. Essentially, how these patterns work is, well, you bounce between support and resistance, you keep bouncing until there's no space, and then you make a big move either up or down, right? And, well, if we can get a really good idea of where that move's going to be, I'm going to tell you in this video. But the point is, we don't really have a really good idea of where that move's going to be. But we can have a look at a few things that kind of indicate the two separate scenarios. So first and foremost, let's look at the daily chart. The daily chart on Bitcoin, like it or not, we are in a pattern of exhaustion, right? We're in an ascending channel structure, which is a pattern of exhaustion, right? One of the most infamous patterns of exhaustions there are, followed by ascending wedges, right? This is an ascending channel formation. It's where you slowly grind up, and eventually about 75% of chance 75% of the time you break to the downside. This generally happens after a long flagpole, which we've also had. And so you could actually say this is a bear flag formation, right? So a bear flag formation, you've got the flagpole here, you extend that to the breakout point, and you target a very low downside move. Do I think Bitcoin's going to 5,000? No, but it just gives you an idea of what the kind of structure is. It's a very bearish structure. Okay, on top of this, and supporting the fact that this is a bearish formation, is the fact that we have descending volume throughout this entire formation, okay? So starting in January 22nd, we've seen descending volume throughout the entire formation. The price is going upwards, volume's going downwards. It suggests that buyers are getting less and less willing to buy as the price moves further and further up, which is making it more and more likely that we reject. Now, does it mean we have to break down? No, it just means we're likely to break down, right? So let's get that all out of the way. Now, in order to break upwards in this channel formation, what we need to be seeing is a break above the 200-day SMA, all right? And breaking above the 200-day SMA coincides or lines up or is in conjunction with the top of the channel. So breaking above the 200-day SMA would be a break of a channel. And if that does happen, right, so I'm circling this area here, if that does happen, we close above, say, 48.6K, 48.7K, we're going to be heading to around 53K, and that's pretty much certain because that's the next resistance block. So break above 48.6, 48.7, close above it, that's going to be a 53K swing for Bitcoin. Break below this triangle formation and break below 44K, we're coming back down to the bottom of this channel around 38K, 39K, and probably going to break down even further to 30K, right? So rewind that if you want that a bit more in depth. But now we're going to head into the S&P 500 and why Bitcoin is showing such determination to break upwards, even though the charts are quite frankly very bearish. Now, there has been yield curve inversion, which basically means that there will most likely, right? I have to say most likely because nothing's certain, but it's basically certain, right? It's basically certain, but it's not, 100%. There will be a recession in the coming, say, 12 months. Within 12 to 18 months, there will probably be a recession. This is generally pretty bearish for traditional markets. I mean, it's not generally bearish. It's always bearish for traditional markets. People sell off their risk on assets, flock into cash for DXY pumps. That's bad for Bitcoin as well, right? That's the kind of theory we're going with, right? When there's a recession, risk on assets get sold off. The DXY is reverse correlated to Bitcoin. If this thing pumps, Bitcoin goes down. That's pretty much common knowledge at this point. So assuming a recession is going to be bullish is very much just predicting against the trend. And as you guys would know, the trend is your friend until it ends. So why would we do that? But as for the S&P 500, what we're seeing now, and we see it every time before a recession, we're seeing a pre-recession rally. And this is why Bitcoin is being so determined to break to the upside, right? Even though everything's so bearish, macro's bearish, short-term should technically be bearish because that descending volume as well. Everything's not looking good for Bitcoin in terms of TA, but the price just keeps moving upwards, right? Why is that? It's because of the S&P 500. We're seeing a pre-recession rally. In fact, if we grab a fractal from starting from March 14th on the S&P 500, and we copy and paste that fractal, let's copy that and bring it over to Bitcoin, and let's say bring it down towards March 14th, right? Where is March 14th? Down here somewhere. Okay, what we're seeing, roughly something like that. We have to take into account that weekends don't actually matter for the S&P 500. So let's just bring it to relative price targets there. And what we can see is that, the S&P 500 doesn't actually count weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. So relative to the Bitcoin price action, when the Bitcoin market hours are open, you can see that the S&P 500 is moving upwards in the same way that Bitcoin is moving upwards. And Bitcoin is copying the S&P 500, right? As soon as the S&P 500 started moving upwards, Bitcoin moved upwards. As soon as the S&P 500 started stagnating, Bitcoin stagnated, right? Or very similar. It's not the same, but it's very, very similar, right? It's enough evidence for us to assume that, Bitcoin's following the traditional markets. If we want further evidence of that, what we can do is we can jump back to the S&P 500 and we can look at, when did it top out? It topped out in January, okay? When did it start showing signs of weakness? When did it start showing, for example, bearish divergence? When was that? That was November. When did Bitcoin top out? It topped out in November, okay? When did it have an upswing? January. So, look, there are many similarities between the S&P 500 and Bitcoin. They're not totally correlated. The DXY is more correlated. But the point is, if the S&P kind of performs well, that puts Bitcoin in a position to perform well as well. They're very much connected. Bitcoin's not a separate asset at this point. It's not uncorrelated, right? It's very much correlated to the S&P 500 traditional markets. So essentially, what's happening now on Bitcoin is, we should be going down and we're technically still in a bearish structure. And so we can't actually be macro bullish yet. First and foremost, how can you be macro bullish when you're in a bearish structure, right? We haven't even broken out to the upside. We're still within this structure, right? That's what I don't understand about the bullish argument right now. Everyone's like, Bitcoin's so bullish. It's like, okay, tell me that at 48.6K. Right now we're still in an ascending channel formation and we're still seeing descending volume and we're still following the 4-year cycle theory. So I'm not exactly seeing what's so bullish about this. Now, I'm not saying we can't break upwards, but if we do break upwards to 48.6K and above, that's when you can start saying Bitcoin looks bullish, because that's actually bullish for Bitcoin, right? That's actually a bullish move, right? Right now, we're just in a channel formation. This is technically still a bear flag, right? Do you understand what I mean? So I don't see the point of saying this is bullish right now, but I suppose the point of this video, I give you guys daily updates, and the point of this video essentially is to say that, within the next 3 days, there will be that decision. That decision is whether or not we break above 48.6K or whether or not we break downwards below 44K. Now, what I can say from my personal experience in technical analysis is that it looks more likely that we break downwards. However, what I am acknowledging is that that's not in the control of an analyst right now, because that's in the control of traditional markets. And what we've seen in the traditional markets right now, what's driving that rally at the moment is, as I said, a pre-recession pump, but also Biden's new budget, right? Which is basically spending a lot of money and causing more inflation, which in turn kind of drives the price of the S&P 500 up more. And so the macro environment long term is very bearish for Bitcoin here, very bearish for cryptocurrency. But in the shorter term, some would say it's actually very bullish for cryptocurrency. And so the price, even though it doesn't have a justification to move upwards, could very well just irrationally move to the upside here in Bitcoin. But regardless of all the manipulation that's going on, we have to stick with the trend. And the trend is right now we're still within the channel. If we break above this channel, close above it, then we can start entering some kind of expansive long positions and start getting some good trades in there. Right now we're still trading, we're still scalp trading. I mean, my Telegram, as I said, is up 300% in a month. We've traded this whole swing from a downside to the upside of this channel. But the point is, they've been very tight stop loss trades. They've been very small position trades, and taking it with a grain of salt, because we really don't know what's going to happen next year in the market. And any analyst who tells you they do is simply lying here. What I can say is that I think macro, I think 2022 wise, right, the longer term, Bitcoin is going to go down towards the 200-week SMA. Now, in the next couple of weeks, in the next couple of days, it's very, very, very difficult to say. What I can say is that this is a bearish structure, but I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen because I'm of the belief that this is a manipulated price movement. So we just have to wait and see what happens. Again, this triangle is what we're looking at, 3 days until the breakout. Draw this triangle on your chart, whichever way it breaks. Take into account it can fake out as seen by yesterday. Whichever way it breaks, it will be the direction that we're choosing here for Bitcoin. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry for not offering much new content today, but the point is we're still in this triangle formation, 3 days until a breakout. It's worth reiterating. Lots of new people watch my videos every day, and so it needs to be said. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you in the next one. Cheers.